see they've been bringing out a lot of bad guys as of late. Or is that just a reflection of Todd? Here's a look at the McFarlane toys. DC Multiverse, McFarlane's Collector's Edition, Mirror Master. Sam Scudder uses the codename Mirror Master, wielding devices allowing him power over reflective surfaces. He was an early member of Central City's Rogues, villains employing themed high-tech weapons in their crimes. Mirror Master can emerge from any reflective surface and drag victims back to the mirror world. Two-way mirror. Pfft, for Sam, every reflective surface is a two-way mirror. Before, though, we actually look at the Mirror Master and the weapons that he comes with, let's take the tape measure and see how tall the figure stands. I was lucky to actually find this on the Facebook selling group, and I got this from Popeye the Toy Man. Now, if you guys are interested and would like to check out his wares, you can click the link down below in the video description. Back, though, to measuring the Mirror Master, and in fact, he's going to stand 7 inches in height, or 18 centimeters tall. Flash for me, and especially his rogues, are top 3, right after Batman and Spider-Man. The fact that we actually have ourselves another member of the Rogues Gallery is awesome, and Mirror Master is one of my personal favorites. We don't have really much in the way of rogues. I know we've got ourselves Reverse Flash. I don't know where he is right now, but I certainly do have Captain Cold, one of my personal favorites as well. If you could see yourself getting your hands on Mirror Master, then you'll find the figure will have the following things. First, Mirror Master comes included with a trading card. I like that they actually have the trading card where he's emerging from a reflective surface. On the side, of course, it does have McFarlane Collector's Edition. That's all done in a very nice silver font. On the back, though, of the card, his real name is Sam Scudder. That paragraph read that I read at the beginning of the review, I didn't just pull it out of my head. If I was, that would be quite creative. No, in fact, I just read it on the back of the card. I need to pull the rabbit out of that and show you guys how the magic trick is done, but it's just right off the back of the card. Let's move, though, the card off to the side. The other thing, of course, we'll have a look at is the new DC logoed stand. The DC logo, if we can just reach the side here, watch Captain Cold. This was one of the original McFarlane Collector's Edition stands where, of course, the DC logo was done in silver. It's still done in silver, but of course now we have ourselves the new DC logo. I like it. Still don't like the placement of it. I'm going to stop complaining about it, though. The figure, of course, does come included with his mirror guns. Now, these mirror guns don't fold up or anything along those lines. I feel like I have somewhere in my collection the DC Universe Classics Mirror Master. I should have went looking for it. But what you probably would have found with that version of Mirror Master would have been the same similar style of mirror guns. These panels don't fold up or anything like that. They're just basically part of the molding. The molding also seems like they're identical, so not much costing would have been required to tool these from scratch. Because again, you're tooling one of them, you're basically just doubling up the same molding. I do actually like they've given more of a metallic gunmetal gray to them. Now, he does technically have holsters on the sides, but being that these don't fold up and being that those pockets don't open, clearly though, there's no way that he can store them outside of holding them in his hands. A segue now to his hands. We'll kind of put these off to the side. Mirror Master gets technically 2 versions of hand. He has his bare hands, and with those bare hands, he has gripping hands already. He does also have a closed fist version of those. Or he does also have, and my favorite of the two, he comes gloved hands. Entirely up to you which way you'd like to have the figure displayed. I think gloved hands work honestly a little bit better. Keeps the consistent color of green going from the rest of his sleeve down. He has closed fists for those. And he does also, of course, have the trigger firing finger hands for, of course, those mirrored guns, which are right over there. Changing out the hands, though, for Mirror Master is just a case of holding onto the forearm, detaching the hand that he has right now, and replacing it with the hand that you want to use. You want to make sure it's all the way on the peg. Now, again, this is the bare hand. This is the gloved hand. So, I just think that the green hand works a little bit better. Removing that also, let's go ahead and pop that one off. The one thing I will say, though, is that you can kind of see what's been molded in green plastic and what's been painted in green, providing, of course, I get that all the way on there. Okay. If you look at the way his forearm is, now, again, we would assume that this would be the top of his glove, obviously. The painting of the green is clearly darker and a little shinier than the molded hand. It's close enough, at least, but you may be able to notice it. But again, like that, I think he looks a lot better, honestly, though, with the gloved hands. And again, we can take ourselves the mirror blasters and wedge them in there. One thing, though, I have noticed is that the handles for the guns seem larger than they need to be. You know, I get that he has to hold them securely enough, so obviously he's not going to be losing them. But I feel like I had to really exert. Well, you even saw for yourself how much effort had to be exerted just to get him properly holding the guns. Now, again, you would just do that on one side and just rinse and repeat to get him on the other side. Nowhere at all displaying this guy on the shelf would that ever leave off the mirror guns. That's just one of the things that he's iconically known for. But let's go ahead and just remove the gun for right now. Try not to lose the hand while we're doing this. And we'll just plug the hand back in place. As for the look of Mirror Master, I mean, there's nothing more classic than the look of this character. I mean, he's essentially just like, he's got like a ski mask on, and then he's basically just got an outfit that consists of like an orange main outfit and then green accents. I think for that, they've captured it well. The sculpting of his face looks really good, and I love that they've actually given him sort of more of an arrogant sneer. That's something that we really need to see a lot more of. I don't certainly want side-eye, because I know we've kind of went through that phase where a lot of DC Universe, DC Multiverse figures had that side-eye, but I think by giving him even just an expression, to the extreme, maybe not as much as Captain Cold. I mean, Captain Cold at least benefited from having swappable faceplates. I always really like to have him displayed with the big smile myself. But I think, though, Mirror Master works really well with the sculpting that they gave him. The green is painted really well here at the top of his mask. It carries also down to the collar piece. Now, this is technically a separate piece from the rest of his body. If you were to divorce his head from the rest of his body, clearly there's nothing really getting in the way of removing this altogether. But obviously that is one thing. I guess they probably did that so that they could reuse this body. Whatever body this ended up being from, reusing the body and just only sculpting this separately would have probably saved a lot for the tooling cost of the figure. They would have had to tool a brand new belt piece. Now, this belt does seem like it is glued in place. This is also the thing that attaches onto the holsters on the sides of his leg. Now, these pockets don't open up. If they were, I suppose, there could be placed for some storage, but I'm not disappointed necessarily that he doesn't have it. Green works well now down below here as well for his boots. They have given him a bit of a treading, but the tread doesn't, unfortunately, well, one thing that's good about it, though, is it doesn't take anything away from him having flat feet. Sometimes, though, when you carry a sculpting of a tread over and you ruin the flatness of feet, it means things like getting the figure to stand would be a little bit more difficult to do. One thing I will say, though, about the paint on Mirror Master is that it's really shiny for the top of the torso. I don't feel like it even needed to be either. If you look at the lower legs, yeah, there is a sheen to it, but it's nowhere near the sheen that we're getting here for the top. I feel like they probably could have toned that back just a bit. I think it's a little too shiny for my liking. There's some, obviously, sculpting there on the sides of his forearms, or sides of his arms. The coloring looks really good. I mean, between the orange and the green, that's classic Mirror Master colors. One thing I did notice, though, getting the figure out of the packaging, and it might very well just be mine, is that he's really loose in the shoulders. I mean, not loose to the point where if I brought his arms up, for example, it's not like his arms would drop down. But I did notice, though, he's very loose here. He's not loose anywhere else. I mean, which is good. No tightness, no looseness in his knees. He's a little loose on the ankles, but not enough that's going to cause figure to fall over. I just noticed, though, he's really loose here. For the figure's articulation, by the way, Mirror Master does have head rotation, being, of course, he does have that ball joint. That ball joint allows not only for the head to do this, but you can also have the head looking up and looking down. And of course, you can also do the things in between by rocking it back and forth. Mirror Master's upper torso is going to be on a ball joint. Even though he really does have a belt that covers over all of this, he does technically also have a ball joint at the base of his abdomen. So again, like this is what I was talking about. Arms are a little loose to rotate them all the way around. The socket joint, probably even you can see as I move his arm up and down, really loose here. I don't even feel like it needed to be loose either. I mean, obviously, this cup joint is only really there to hide the joint of the shoulder. That's not really going to necessarily, just because that's loose, doesn't necessarily make his arms loose. But there's something about the peg on mine, at least. It's really loose getting him immediately out of the packaging. Sure, yes, the figure does still have a bicep swivel. Mirror Master does have a double hinge on the elbow, and whether you want to use these hands or you want to beeline it back to the regular bare hands, the hands work the exact same way. They rotate all the way around. There's a hinge back and forth there, too. For his legs, now they split, being at least, though, that they chose not to mount, they didn't mount the pockets to his legs, so at least when it comes to giving him the splits, these don't get in the way, and freely they're able to move out of the way as you're giving him a Van Damme. I don't know generally, though, if Mirror Master would be all that down with the idea of doing a splits, but if you wanted to, as a collector, you could easily do the splits for Mirror Master. Legs go forward that far. They can also go back. Not as far back, though, because he hits the back of his behind. The sculpting, by the way, on his behind. Now that I really spent a lot of time looking at the buttocks of Mirror Master, but it's sculpted well. Top of the leg, stop that. Top of the leg is got a swivel there, so you can move it a little bit back and forth. The figure does have a double hinge on the knee. There are a few, though, things that you'll also notice. There's a color deviation with the way that they've sculpted the part for his knees and the leg above it. It's a little darker here. It's not nearly as dark in his knees, and it could be maybe that they painted this part, and they only just sculpted this in the orange plastic. His boots, by the way, speaking of sculpting, is one continued sculpt from the rest of his calf. So likely, obviously, they would have gone in there and painted the boots in green. Love this green, by the way. This forest green that they chose is a really nice dark color, and it works really well. You would think, though, that really orange and green wouldn't work all that well, and they would conflict with one another. And even if they do, that's the way the character looks. Ankle pivot up and down. It's a little loose. It's not loose enough where I feel like the figure is going to get standing issues, but it is a little loose getting this guy to the packaging. Sure enough, yeah, he does have an ankle rocker, and Mirror Master does also have toe articulation. If you're somebody that really takes pride in knowing that your figures all have toe articulation, then you'll be happy to know as well that Mirror Master has his. Bringing back in here Captain Cold. I did say earlier, though, like I put Flash Rogues pretty high up. For me, it's like Batman. No one beats Batman. And then, of course, you've got yourself Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man would be better than the Flash. But I think, like, for me, Flash has some of the coolest rogues around. Weather Wizard, the top. I mean, obviously, like, Captain Boomerang. Oh, by the way, I should have really brought in Captain Boomerang. Yeah, that's another Flash rogue that we also have. These two, by far, are my favorite so far. Captain Cold, and, of course, Mirror Master. Mirror Master coming, of course, included with his mirror guns. I mean, that would be one thing, obviously, the figure's going to need to necessarily have. But the one thing I really wasn't expecting was that he had two different ways of displaying his hands. So, again, if you don't like necessarily the bare hands, I personally don't like the bare hands myself. You can give him the green gloves. So fully, like he's got a full encased glove. I think that works a little bit better for the character, at least my personal opinion of it. As the license that Todd has for the DC Multiverse comes soon to a close, there were certain characters I was really hoping that he'd be able to get out there in time. And funny though enough, Mirror Master was pretty high on that list. For me, I've always loved Flash Rogues Gallery. I mean, again, we've gotten a couple of them already, being the Captain Boomerang. We already got the Captain Cold, but still need to be up on that list would had to have been Mirror Master and Weather Wizard. Don't have yet a Weather Wizard, but I'm hoping, though, again, he's going to be making that cut before the license runs out. When you start to really think of all the rogues that Flash has as disposal, I mean, again, like there's the ones that we all know, the Captain Colds, the Mirror Masters, of course, Reverse Flash. But let's not also overlook Abracadabra. There's Heatwave, the Golden Glider, and even the Trickster. What would be the chances we would ever get ourselves the Trickster? I know we don't want to think too far ahead with the licensing coming up very shortly soon, but at least we get ourselves a really neat looking Mirror Master. I know I'm biased as a collector to say, as a reviewer, I have to kind of look at this figure and think to myself, is it really worth getting the figure if you're a big fan of the Flash Rogues Gallery? I would say right away as a collector, yes. Pick this guy up. I like the expression that they've sculpted on his face. Got to dig the fact that obviously they've given him the crazy outlandish colors of the orange, kind of that tang orange mixed with forest green. Realistically, that shouldn't really work. I wouldn't necessarily pick these two colors if I was walking around in the streets, but it seems to work quite well for a man that controls the mirror world. Now, with Mirror Master, he does at least have the options of having swappable hands. This was something that, again, I wasn't expecting when they first announced that Mirror Master was going to be hitting pegs, but the fact that they actually include two different ways of displaying with the gloved hands, I prefer to have the all green myself, but I like, though, that Todd included options so collectors can display Mirror Master exactly the way that they want. Again, if you guys are interested and would like to get Mirror Master for yourself, I grabbed this from Popeye the Toy Man, who, as far as I know, is not one of the Flash Rogues Gallery. Maybe he is. If you guys certainly would like to check out what he's got going on right now for listings, you can click the link down below in the video description. What do you guys think of Mirror Master? Let me know down below in the comments section. Who is also your favorite member of the Rogues Gallery of Flash? Is it Mirror Master? Maybe it's the Trickster. Maybe it's even the Pied Piper. What are the chances we're ever going to get a Pied Piper? Who's your favorite member? Well, who's your favorite rogues from the Flash? Let me know also down below. If you guys did enjoy this video, you can do it a solid throw to like. You guys want to stick around for more? So I hope so. By the way, though, even though we're kind of wrapping up things right now for the mirror world, there will be more DC Multiverse reviews coming your way for the rest of this week. So I hope to see you guys for those. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.